Good morning, and we are here for episode 22 of the Making It podcast. 22 episodes into the year, 22 consistent weeks of podcasting, and we are here kind of talking about our journey and what our Making It journey is. So, Dan, first of all, welcome. How are you feeling after last night? Because I don't know about you, but I'm aching.
I'm a little bit tired. For context, me and Jamie were playing football last night. It was good fun. Jamie balled out. He got a hat trick.
This is what we do out here. This is what we do.
But I'm feeling good, man. This is the first time we've ever recorded the podcast on the day it gets released, but it makes no difference to you, the listener. In terms of making it, Jamie, you met Judy at the weekend, which was nice. The first time you ever met her. So shout out to Judy. She listens to every episode. Now, she asked me the question, and I've answered it to her, but I want to talk about it on the podcast. Do we ever make it?
Well, I think as human beings, we always want more. I don't know about you. I think it's something we actually spoke about because we went to the Peak District on Saturday. Went to Monsell Head, which was awesome. Dan drove us up there, and we had a nice coffee, and we just had a good chat and a bit of a walk, and it was amazing. And I think actually we did kind of touch on that when we were talking.
We did, yeah.
So I think that it does vary person to person because some people are quite content with what they've got, and they are genuinely just happy doing what they do, which is, fair enough. If you're comfortable and you're happy and you're secure, I think there's not really much more you can ask for. But I think that myself included and a lot of younger people now, it's never enough in terms of, the job they're trying to achieve. They want to be higher up. Perhaps the money they want to earn, even though it's not the most important thing, they always want to have a little bit more, and even though that is a great thing, there's also the downsides to it where you can be a bit greedy and you kind of forget the reason you're doing it. But I think naturally as human beings, like we always want to strive to do the next thing, it's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But again, everyone varies. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I was going to ask you, like, how do you find a balance doing that? Because I feel the same way. And as we spoke before, I always feel like, it's never enough. I always want that next thing. I'm always looking forward. Now, that can have a bit of danger because you can never be appreciating what's going on in the now. And you can also potentially never be happy if nothing's ever enough. And that's where I think for me, you have to have an awareness. Okay, what is never enough? Like, I'll never think to myself, my girlfriend's never enough. Do you know what I mean? Because she is. Yeah. But in terms of me and my goals in my life and me trying to become, I don't know, the best sports psychologist I can be, that will never be enough. But for me, that feels healthy because for me, that's ambition and I'm striving for something. So maybe that's having that awareness of, okay, in your life, what do you want to be? That's never enough, which will make sure you've got that healthy balance. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's things that you chase and there's things that you don't. Like there's things that you are content with. And perhaps like the only thing that I would say in your relationship that maybe you are striving for is much further down the road, but you'll strive for collective prosperity within your jobs. So you'll both want to earn a good amount. You'll strive to maybe own a property with that person. You'll strive to have joint things that you both work on and that you both want to see grow and succeed. So I suppose that's the only exception really with that. But I think there's, as long as you're, and I can't really say that money shouldn't be something that makes you want more and more, because if that is your motivation and you're genuinely happy, then I'm happy for you. I think that's good for you. If, I don't think it's the healthiest thing because money at the end of the day is just, it doesn't really, even though, of course, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want more of it because I absolutely do. When you think about it, it's just something that some bloke created because he didn't want to trade his chicken for 2 buckets of milk. Do you know what I mean? Like he didn't want to do it. So he thought, well, let's create some money.
It's a resource, really, isn't it?
It's a resource. It's a thing that we all have to utilize in our lives. And if you didn't think that, then you'd be lying to yourself. Of course, everyone needs money. That's just a way of life. But if you're genuinely enjoying something and you're genuinely passionate about it, I think wanting the next thing is great, but the balance that you ask about, it's important to kind of reflect, which I would say I'm definitely doing more of since we started the podcast. But sometimes in the moments when you least expect to reflect, like when your train's delayed home, That's always when I find it, when stuff's gone a little bit wrong, and I kind of sit back and I go, do you know what? I've had a really good day. I've done this. I've done something I've always wanted to do, and I'm a bit tired. Train's delayed. It's all a bit crap, but I feel good, And then that's the important thing. And you can actually use the things you're doing, you've always wanted to do, as like a positive light within a really negative day. So finding balance is tough. It's tough with everything, but if you really want something, there's nothing wrong with wanting a little bit more, I think.
But reflection is very important. And I did a little video on my Instagram page this week, and one thing I mentioned was the fact you can never really truly reflect until you're out of it.
Yeah.
Now, reflection is very important, and it's important to reflect every day. But I heard Chris Williamson say it. He said, like, in the busy life he's got, Modern Wisdom, that podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was saying, he's rushing on flights, he's trying to get to different places, he's from one country to the other. And it's not until one moment where he just stops and he doesn't need to travel anymore, where he can really reflect on what just happened. And I just find that interesting because you can't really truly, it's like they say hindsight. Now, hindsight is such a frustrating thing at times. It's like in hindsight, I would have done it differently, but you can't change it. And I think reflection is important because you can look back at things and think, okay, where did I go wrong? And that will help in situations where, we speak about what do I do now? Reflection helps you for those moments where maybe in those what do I do now moments, you maybe made the wrong decision. And then in those next moments where it's what do I do now, you know what to do. Reflection is key. Now, another thing which I wanted to talk about, which I'm sure we picked up on before, but it's just something which popped up in my week this week. And it's so important, I think, for confidence, for finding out who you want to be, for excelling in your life, building your life. I think putting yourself in uncomfortable positions is a massive thing. Now, I think some people are better than others at it. Like, I look at myself and I think I'm quite good at it. And, I've got some friends that maybe are trying to do it a bit more. And it's like, how do you get those people to do it more is what sometimes I think a little bit, because I think naturally I've got this confidence to be able to do it. And I think from doing it in early ages, it's now put me in a position which I can do it even better when I'm older. Now, I think it's kind of growing that ability to almost not care. And I don't mean not care about what you're doing, but not care about people's judgment. But for
Yeah.
me, brother, I think for loads of young people and even people who are older, like that fear of judgment is a massive thing. I mean, we're not experts. We probably don't have the answer, but it's worth a bit of a discussion. How do you overcome that fear of judgment to be able to put yourself in uncomfortable positions more?
Well, I face that fear every day. With everything, I do. It's something that I do worry about a lot. What people think about, in terms of, if I go out and do something, whether it be doing YouTube stuff or commentary, I kind of think, what's someone going to think about it?
I mean, you and your clothes as well.
Clothes.
Like, you got to iron your shirts and make sure you're
Oh,
looking
right.
all good.
Okay. I was going to say, where you going with that, Dan? If you don't think I dress well, bro, you tell me. But no, I mean, that's something I get from my dad. He was always obsessed with it, mate. You're not leaving the house without ironing. But I think also presentability is important. I'm not saying if you don't iron your shirt, you're not a presentable person. But I think you should put out some respect to the people that are around you, and iron your shirt. I think you should wear a suit at Wembley. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones. But that's a separate argument. But
What, you would wear a suit at Wembley as a fan?
no, as a manager, you fool.
Oh.
Not as a fan, bro. You think I'm turning up like?
Anyway, back to the
Boy.
fear of judgment.
The fear of judgment, though, seriously, yeah, I think it's something I face a lot because I'm in front of people. That is my either in customer service or it's in providing social media content for people to enjoy, hopefully. So you have to put your face out there, and naturally the fear of judgment is there. And also, I've been judged a lot. I've had horrible things said to me. I've had people threaten me. I've had all sorts. And the more that that's happened, the less I fear judgment. I used to really, really fear it. And I think the way that I've kind of come about navigating that fear is kind of remembering what I'm here for a reason. I'm doing what I do for a reason because I'm good at it, because I enjoy it. I'm naturally a good communicator.
Stop right there.
This is Daniel talking here, and I know right now you're enjoying the episode, but I've just got to give a really big shout out to something, and it's Making It Moments. You know, that's where our guests are. That's where the people we bring on to talk about their journeys are. Go and listen to Making It Moments. Go find them on our Spotify and YouTube. Find clips on our socials. Making It Poddy, Making It Moments.
And if someone doesn't like what I do, there is a simple thing that they can do. They can click off their phone and go and do whatever the hell they want with the rest of their day. I don't care. I don't care. Someone said the other day, "Oh, I'm going to block you. I don't like this." Well, do it. That's fine. Do you know? You know what I mean? So you just have to back yourself and realize that unless the people who are judging you are doing it constructively and are doing the same, if not a little bit better than you, well, in my opinion, what they say, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're touching it well there because people who judge you are often coming from a place where they're probably judging themselves a lot.
Mm,
So don't really take on board what they say unless you say it's constructive. Now you said experience, and experience is massive. The more you experience things that are uncomfortable, that fear of judgment weakens. Now, how do you get that experience? And we spoke about it before, and I think an episode I think about a lot is a foot in the door episode. And if you're a listener right now who hasn't listened to that episode, go and click on it because that's very insightful in terms of how you can put your foot in the door in whatever you want to do. Now, getting experience, how do we get experience in uncomfortable positions in the first place? And I would say, it's speaking to people, it's actually going out there and searching for it. I always find a lot of people who say, "Oh, I want a job." I don't know, from my own experience, I'm not calling out anyone here, but people might just be on their phone on Indeed a lot of the time. It's like, go out there and go to loads of places and ask if they got work. A lot of people go these days, or go online and, can you hand your CV in through email and stuff like this. But the more you go to, the more chance you've got. And
mm.
that's a massive thing. Maybe with trying to get experience and that fear of judgment, you're going to get so many no's, but that one yes is going to make a massive difference.
Yeah, and I think, as well, to maybe kind of put a different perspective on what you said, I think that going up in person to go and ask for a job is such a big thing. It's such a big thing, especially for a lot of young people now who most of their life and what they do, their education, their communication with a lot of friends and family, it's all online. So to make that in-person step is like, whoa, it's big. And also a lot of people just can't be bothered, which is, that's up to them, which is fair enough. But I would say that, yeah, if you are trying to find something, whether it's employment, you're trying to find someone who can offer you advice, or whatever, friends, whatever. Yeah, you should go actively searching for it. And it doesn't have to just be in person. If you go on LinkedIn and you put in the hard yards and you share what you do, you share what you're proud of and you back yourself and you let other people see that, then you'll create a network. And I think that people should be on LinkedIn. And I know that there's a stigma around it. It's like a cringy sort of place,
Mate,
but it's just
LinkedIn's amazing.
LinkedIn's great because it's just somewhere where people share what they've done, share why they're doing it, and then an employer or someone within a company comes along, looks at it and goes, that aligns with my values as a company boss, or it aligns with our values and our ethos as a company as a whole. Let's speak to that person, potentially give them a job. I've got work experience at Sky News from there. I've got multiple, higher end contacts, whether it be football players currently, managers, coaches, which are all useful because, again, I work in media, but I also want to be a coach. So getting to speak to, I won't say which players, but speaking to them about sports management and stuff like that is really cool because, and shout out to Kobe as well, who's come on the podcast before, because not only did Wimbledon win yesterday, so I know that he's probably still out now. But he wants to get into sports management, and I have no doubt that he will be putting in the hard yards to get networking. So to network, to speak to people in person, and to forge that really intimate personal connection is what I think people appreciate. Because I know that when someone texts me and they tell me something, I appreciate it always. Because if anyone takes the time to reach out to me, I'm grateful. But if you come up to me in person and you say what you want to say to me and you want to speak to me and we sit down and have a chat, I appreciate that a lot more.
Now, coming off topic from what we were just speaking about, I
Yeah.
completely agree with everything you're saying there. In the last episode, when we were in our Aussie outfits,
Yeah. Oh God.
development, you mentioned the essence of life is to survive. Now, it was interesting because after your leave and do, which was a great do, by the way, go check our vlog out for that if you're listening.
Did you get the
On the,
shoey in there or not?
I did.
You did? Oh, great. Love it.
Now, I was in an Uber driver when I got back to Newcastle. Not in an Uber driver, blooming heck. I was in an Uber.
You know what? Right, you didn't even need to say that part. But yeah, fair enough.
I was in an Uber going back home from the coach station, and he came from Netherlands,
Yeah.
and he said he really enjoyed being in Netherlands. Don't set me off now, mate.
Sorry.
Don't set me off now. Compose yourself. Oh, you better not have a grin on your face while I'm talking.
I can't. You got to understand. You can't just go and say stuff like that.
I know,
Anyway,
I know.
the Dutch taxi guy.
But he come from the Netherlands, and he's in England now, and he's not particularly enjoying it too much because he prefers it over in Amsterdam where he was. And he said, to be honest with you, I had a great accounting job when I was in Amsterdam, but after, Brexit and the EU and, political things, he had to move to Netherlands. And he said, listen, I'm just doing this to survive. And it made me think about what you said. And it makes you think about the things we were speaking about in the last episode. And it's like, there are people doing jobs they don't want to do, but they have to because they need to survive. They need to eat. They need to provide for their family. And that's where, when you see people saying, oh, people in awful jobs, you can be getting out of it. And fair enough, there's routes, but some people are just in difficult positions and you can't do an awful lot about it. So I thought that was quite interesting. I thought that I'd bring that up this week.
Yeah, and I would say actually most people are in jobs they probably don't enjoy to some extent, if not the entirety. They just don't enjoy it because that is the way that the world is, and that's horrible and it's brutal, to be honest. Because I think that it would be ideal for every human being to be able to choose what they want to do. But I'm sure that if that happened, you wouldn't have a lot of industries operating, because that's just how it goes. It's brutal, it is really brutal. But as younger people who don't have responsibility, don't really have bills, and we can afford to take a few risks, I would say that if we want to achieve the job that we really want, or we want to achieve something we've always wanted to achieve, then now's the time to throw the kitchen sink at it, because we've got nothing else to worry about at the moment, which is why I'm going traveling. It's why, you're going to university and you're looking to get into sports psychology. It's why people do everything, get apprenticeships, whatever you want to do. Everything you do in your life is a gamble, or a probability,
A calculated risk.
Not everyone though, but this is what I was going to get onto, because sometimes we take risks that aren't calculated because we just go for it. We don't think it through. So I would say that taking calculated risks is what I'd recommend more than a non-calculated risk. But at the end of the day, if you're taking risks and you're throwing your body on the line to get what you want, then good for you. And I think that as young people, we should do that a little bit more if we are in a position to do so, which again, I appreciate, very privileged, to be in my position, and I'm sure you the same, Dan. So yeah, I'm just going to keep taking risks, calculated risks, and just enjoy the time being young.
I just realised I never answered the question we asked at the start about do you ever make it? And I said back to Judy, I said, in certain things I feel like we do. I said to Judy, like, you've had your career, you made it as a teacher. We can look back and reflect on some things and say, you know what, I made it in that. But there's always things you're making it in. You're still making it as a brother, a sister, an uncle like you.
Honestly, mate, I just want to actually say a little thing on that, because I don't want to go too off into a tangent, but like, I saw my nieces for the first time in a couple of years on Saturday last week before. God, time's going so quick, man. And it was amazing. I don't really get to see my sister a lot because she lives a bit further away, and it was the most just amazing experience. Just to see my nieces. I've not seen them for so long. And even seeing my little brother this Saturday was massive for me. Family is so important to me, and it was really just great to see my sister, who I've always grown up around. It's just been me, my sister, my brother. That's been us as siblings, and now my sister's got her own little family. And it's crazy. She's 25 now, and it's just like, where's the time gone? But she's got her own little family, and then I'm assuming that means that I'm next to start my own family now, because it's not going to be my brother anytime
Steady
soon.
on, partner.
You know, but yeah, just an amazing experience. And then kind of coming on to what we did this weekend, you know, and you took me to see Judy after going for the walk and stuff. I really liked it because, and again, Judy, this is to you, so I'm talking directly to you now. Just really enjoyed meeting you, you know, because I thought that obviously I'd only seen your comments and stuff, and I didn't really know much of you. But I think it was great to just be out in the garden as well, to be honest, Dan. I loved it.
Judy
I
loves
thought it
her
was brilliant.
garden, man. She loves it. Judy
Great
can
garden.
talk all day about her garden. I love that about her. That's her big passion.
Mm.
But bro, how are you feeling this week, man? You know, this is the week you are going to Australia, bro. What is Jamie feeling right now?
Tired for a start, because Dan's got us up doing podcasts at quarter to 8 in the morning. You know, that's how dedicated he is. I love it. But no, on a serious note, I'm feeling a bit nervous. You know, I think tomorrow it'll hit a little bit more, because you kind of reach the midpoint between you staying and you going in this week. You know, it's a lot. I don't think it's really properly kicked in. It's the thing about me. Like, a lot of these things that I do in my life, they don't kick in until you actually start. So until I get on that bus to go to Gatwick, I'll be like, I'm all right. And then I get on the bus and I'm like, oh God, we're doing this now. You know, because it's 2 days of traveling. So it's like, you know, it's going to be a lot of time to think.
Plenty of time to reflect.
A lot of time. Am I doing the right thing? Why the hell am I doing this? What am I doing? Wow, what am I doing? Should have just gone to Thailand for a month and come home. You know what I mean? It's just something like that. But no, you know, I'm really looking forward to it. You know, it's something different for me. I'm seeing a lot of family and friends this week to say goodbye. Shout out to Umar and Abdul. We went to Roosters yesterday in town. You know, so I'm just spending a lot of time with the right people, saying goodbye. And yeah, I leave on Saturday afternoon to go to London and then fly out Sunday morning. So yeah, just a bit nervous, bro. But it's a new experience and it's a challenge. And I'm always talking about throwing yourself in there and taking risks and stuff. So I've got to
It's
live by this.
exciting, brother. It's very exciting. It's going to be really nice and really, you know, interesting when you're out there. And we're still doing these podcasts every week. So for the listener, do not worry. These podcasts will not stop when Jay's out in Aussie. We will still be continuing in this format. And one thing Jamie's set himself is a target to do a podcast on a beach with somebody. So we'll see
Yeah.
if that happens. And also, if you get the chance when you're out there, because you never did when you were last time, ask one of the locals what struggles they have when they're out there, brother.
Not many. I bet you it's not many. They got a beach and a nice house and some sunshine. It's great. But one thing I will say about that part of the world, and a lot of perhaps the poorer areas around that part of the world, they actually appreciate life for the living. So they don't really think too much about their job. They go to work and that provides their security, but their life is enjoying time with their family. It's spending time at the beach. It's enjoying the things around you. So I'm hoping that Australia will teach me that. And I'm also hoping it will teach me to not be so scared of like a lot of like venomous snakes and spiders and stuff. Because the taxi driver yesterday, I was coming because I fell asleep on the tram yesterday. Like, I just had 5 minutes where I was like, where am I? And I woke up in Wilford. And so I was like, I gotta get an Uber. Got in the Uber and speak to the Uber guy, and he's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And oh, funnily enough, I'm leaving. And he was like, oh, let me tell you some stories. I went to Malaysia and I saw this big spider like this. And he said, you're going to see much worse ones out there that want to kill you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sound, mate. Nice one. I'll enjoy it, though, anyway. I was like, what are you talking about, man? Chill out. But yeah, you know, I'm going to miss a lot of what I've got here. But, you know, more as I kind of get closer to it, I realise that a year is not that long, even though it is. But you know how quick this year's gone. You know, we're almost halfway through the year.
It's crazy, bro. Time
It's
flies.
insane. Do you know what I mean? So the year will go by quick. The most important for me is just establishing that routine, you know. But I'm excited. I've got all my money ready. Let's be having you. Let's be having you.
It's going to be great, brother. And you can find Jamie's adventures in Australia at Jay's Away on YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, you need to set a TikTok for that as well, don't you? And a TikTok.
You
And
got me on
look at
TikTok.
Jamie's TikTok he's been doing recently. Jamie Jamie Martin _journalist or something like that.
Jamie Martin Media. So a lot of like my football stuff will be on there. But the travel account and that will also kind of cross over a little bit as well. So if you want to see me struggling on a 27-hour flight, crying, probably feeling a little bit sick, and just going through it, if that's what you enjoy, then see that TikTok, because it's going to be harrowing. So
talking about TikTok, I want to give a big shout out to Dead Nova. He comments on
yeah,
our videos on the page, and someone said something the other day about, what are these lads even doing while they got a podcast? Some random person, and Dead Nova, he backed us up. He went, "I'll be listening, lads." So shout out to Dead Nova.
yeah, and I just want to say as well, like the one criticism that we get, and actually I used to get a lot, is that we're just waffling, or what we say has no meaning. Well, let me tell you, Shadrach, that believe me, if you are commenting on someone's video, if you are taking the time to engage, not only do you care, but it means something to you. And I am proud to say that we have got you onto your phone commenting on our stuff, because that is what we want. We want you to comment, whether you enjoy it or not. We want you to comment and get involved. So to those that are trolling, if it doesn't affect you, then you're lying, because you love it really, and you want to follow us on Spotify and subscribe and do all that jazz. That is what you want to do. But Dan, before we go, is there kind of anything else that you've been pondering on this week? Anything you got planned for this week coming up?
Just relaxing, off to my granddad's tomorrow, so just gonna have some nice time with family, chilling out and just recovering, because I feel like I need it.
After last night, he didn't want to come out and play football on Thursday in case I smoked him. He saw what happened to them defenders last night, and he's like, I didn't fancy any of that. Did not.
What about you anyway?
Just seeing family and moving. So yeah, it's a busy weekend. I don't know what day we're going to record the next podcast, but we are going to do it. And I'm sure I can get an interactional. I can get a video of me saying something or asking some question when I'm on the plane. So bear with us on that. But it's been great. Episode 22, the second to last one over here. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. Make sure that you follow us on our social media, YouTube, and also listen to what the soundbite says, because it's important. It's important that you help us out. So in the meantime, though, take care of yourself. Dan, look after yourself, my friend. And,
you too, brother.
That was episode 22 of the Making It podcast, and we'll see you next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 10 in the morning.
Take care.
Bye.
So